Trees kill cancer. 3 minutes near a living tree triggers a measurable 7-day surge in your body's cancer-hunting immune cells. And the mechanism is not metaphor, not wellness culture, not ancient philosophy repackaged for modern consumption. It is phytoncides entering your bloodstream through nasal inhalation and directly activating natural killer cells, the immune system's autonomous assassins, in a cascade that peer-reviewed immunology has documented, replicated, and confirmed. Natural killer cells. That is their actual clinical designation. These are not support cells. They do not wait for signals from the adaptive immune system. They patrol independently, identify malignant and virally infected cells on contact, and execute without hesitation. No prior sensitization required, no committee, no delay. They are the body's first response cancer surveillance system, and after the age of 45, their activity begins to decline. Not dramatically, not with any symptom you would recognize on an ordinary Tuesday. Quietly, steadily, in the background of every day you spend inside a building breathing filtered air that contains none of what your immune system was designed to receive. Your NK cells evolved in proximity to forests, to the exact chemical compounds that trees have been emitting into the surrounding air for 350 million years. Remove that exposure, and something goes silent inside the immune system. You cannot feel the silence, but the biology is unambiguous about the cost. The modern human spends more than 90% of their life indoors. Urban filtered air contains near zero phytoncide concentration. The compound your NK cells were designed to respond to has been stripped entirely from the air you breathe every single day, and nothing has been offered in its place. This is not a deficiency anyone diagnoses. There is no blood panel that returns a result labeled phytoncide starvation, but the downstream consequences are measurable and well documented. When NK cell activity declines, chronic low-grade inflammation expands to fill the immunological vacuum. Inflammatory cytokines circulate at levels too low to produce acute symptoms and too high for the body to manage silently at the cellular level. Cellular aging accelerates. The immune system's ability to identify and eliminate early-stage malignant cells that exist in every human body, constantly, as part of normal biological turnover, begins to erode. The surveillance gaps widen without announcement. This is not a dramatic collapse. It is a slow dimming of the body's most fundamental protective intelligence, normalized by a world that moved humanity indoors and called it progress. Dr. King Lee at Nippon Medical School in Tokyo did not set out to validate ancient tradition. He set out to measure biology. His research took human subjects into phytoncide-rich forest environments and measured their blood before, during, and after exposure. The results were unambiguous. NK cell number increased significantly. NK cell activity, the cytotoxic capacity, the actual killing power, elevated in measurable proportion to phytoncide concentration in the surrounding air. More precisely, the body began producing elevated levels of 3 intracellular proteins: perforin, granzyme A, and granzyme B. These are the weapons NK cells deploy at the cellular level. Perforin punctures the outer membrane of a target cell. Granzymes enter through that puncture and initiate programmed cellular death. These proteins do not accumulate during a pleasant walk. They accumulate in response to a specific chemical signal: phytoncides, the volatile organic compounds alpha-pinene, beta-pinene, limonene, and cedrol, emitted continuously by living trees into the air around them. The immune elevation did not fade when subjects returned to the city. It persisted for 7 full days following a single exposure. Then Lee's team went further. They diffused Hinoki cypress essential oil inside an urban hotel room, with no forest present whatsoever. Subjects showed a measurable NK cell response from indoor diffusion alone. The mechanism does not require a forest. It requires the compound. Trees produce it at source. but the biology responds to the chemistry regardless of where it is delivered. This is the moment skepticism collapses. No ancient culture had the word phytoncide. None of them had flow cytometry to measure NK cell cytotoxicity, but the mechanism was encoded in their practices with a precision that modern science is only now catching up to. Japan's Shinrin-yoku tradition was formalized as a clinical government-endorsed health intervention in 1982, but its roots run through centuries of Shinto observance, where daily proximity to trees was not recreational. It was biological maintenance, understood through lived experience rather than laboratory instrumentation. In India, Ayurvedic Van Chikitsa was prescribed in the Charaka Samhita as a restoration protocol for immune depletion and nervous system dysregulation. Dense tree canopies, slow breathing, extended stillness, the air itself functioning as the medicine. In China, Taoist hermit traditions placed mountain and forest dwelling at the center of both spiritual cultivation and physical longevity. Three separate civilizations on opposite ends of the Asian continent converged on the same essential practice, not by coincidence. Because the biology is consistent across every human body, regardless of geography or century. What they called life force amplification, what Ayurvedic texts encoded as the healing property of forest air, modern immunology now calls NK cell activation via phytoncide-mediated perforin and granzyme upregulation. The language changed. The mechanism never did. The minimum effective dose is 3 minutes of slow, deep nasal breathing in direct proximity to a living tree. Not a forest. Not a national park reservation. One tree, coniferous or broadleafed, within arm's reach, with your nose doing all the work. Nasal breathing is not optional here. The olfactory epithelium is the primary absorption site for phytoncide molecules. Mouth breathing bypasses the mechanism entirely. Breathe in through the nose for a count of 4, hold for 7, release for 8. The 4-7-8 pattern maximizes lung surface contact time and deepens phytoncide absorption with each cycle. Target morning hours after rainfall. Phytoncide concentration in the surrounding air peaks in cool, humid conditions when tree respiration is most chemically active. The species with the highest documented phytoncide output are Japanese cedar, pine, oak, eucalyptus, and cypress. If you have access to any of these, prioritize them. 2 to 3 exposures per week produces sustained NK cell elevation across the available data. A single exposure produces the 7-day response Lee's team documented. For those in dense urban environments without accessible green space, diffusing hinoki cypress or cedarwood essential oil in a bedroom or workspace produces a measurable NK cell response, confirmed in the same controlled research that validated forest exposure. The immune system does not require the aesthetics of a forest. It requires the chemistry. Deliver the chemistry through whatever access point your environment allows. Your immune system was not designed for buildings. It was designed for the air beneath tree canopies, for the chemical signal that has been present in the atmosphere your ancestors breathed every single day for hundreds of thousands of years before the first sealed room was ever constructed. The NK cells in your bloodstream are not failing because of age alone. They are operating in chronic sensory deprivation, cut off from the environmental input they were precisely calibrated to receive. 3 minutes near a living tree is not a wellness ritual. It is a biological correction. It is returning a deprived system to its operating conditions. Every tree you have walked past without stopping has been emitting the exact compound your immune system was waiting for. The pharmacy has always been open. It has never charged a fee. It requires nothing but proximity and breath. Most people keep walking. If you grew up near forests, in a place or a culture where time outdoors was simply how life was lived, consider what your body understood then, that your current environment no longer provides. Some of you will feel that recognition immediately. Drop it below. And if your tradition, your lineage, your ancestors carried a practice built around forests, tree canopies, or healing through nature. Name it in the comments. The research is young. The traditions are ancient. The distance between them is far smaller than most people have been told to believe. The forest remembers what the body already knows. The only question is whether you go back.